everybody, welcome to another episode of What a Hell of a Way to Die. It's me and Nate back in the saddle again, once more with feeling. We both have been taking a little time, and Nate's going to take a little time next week. So enjoy us together once again until you can't hear us until, I don't know, fucking early June or something. So you get some shit. We'll throw some.
Yeah, I'm just going to be gone for a week. I'm taking Podcaster's Holiday, which is a reference to the inscrutably weird Sega Dreamcast game Aquanauts Holiday that came out in the mid '90s. That was just like, this kind of thing is more popular now, but back then it just seemed just phenomenally weird. It was just basically like a scuba diving simulator, but you just like, that was the game. It was just like, oh no, it's a 3D scuba diving simulator, and that's all you do. You just look at fish. That's the game. And I guess that's what my holiday is going to be like, because I'm going to be at home, but I'm going to try to do some run. I might play Disco Elysium, which I've been wanting to like get back into, but I just haven't had time. Gonna go do some running, cook a lot of nice dinners, grill, fucking use the insane wok burner, read, get some writing done, just take a break, man. Woe is me, I'm a professional podcaster. Like, please don't read it that way. Like, fucking, I realize that I am a clown, that my job is being a clown, but yeah, it's just I haven't had any like normal time off since the like right around Christmas, and so I was just gonna take a week, and garden, do some weeding, unfuck my garden's a nightmare. I mean, in some ways it's great, and in other ways the things I wanted to have growing have all. I guess I'm bad at propagating, and all of my seedlings died. So I'm trying again. They seem to be doing okay, but obviously it's late in the year, so we'll see.
I got a lot of peppers into the ground this year. Hopefully they'll do okay.
Yeah, all my pepper plants and all my tomato plants died, man. I don't know what I did wrong with the propagator, but what I'm doing now is basically, I think I was giving them too much artificial light, and then also what I've been doing, I don't think it was warm enough. So I have a coffee maker, like an espresso maker, and it's got like a warming shelf on top of it. So I've just been putting the propagators up there like while the coffee machine is running, so that like it just kind of warms up the tray, and it definitely made one of them like the fastest I've ever seen a seedling grow in a coir pellet, like ever. Like the other ones are catching up. I thought they might all be dead except for that one. But like from when I germinated to when I like saw like seed leaves out, like seed like completely unfurled, was like maybe 4 days on a pepper seed, which I've never seen it go that fast before.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought about, maybe next year I'll invest in some heating pads for my seeds, because I don't have anything like that now, but like,
oh, dude, I was so fucked up. I used soil that I just hadn't thought about had been stored outside because I thought it had been protected, and it killed all my seedlings because there's some kind of fungal problem, or like algae or some shit. Killed every single one.
I had aphids in the house, so yeah. So I had I took all my stuff out to start hardening it off, and I was like, what is all this white shit on it? Because I got all the like the blue and red indoor lights on it, so like everything everything just looks purple, and it's kind of high up on a shelf.
Just gardening with bisexual lighting. We absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, plants love bisexual lighting, but as soon as I took it out in natural lighting, I was like, what is all this shit? So luckily, one, aphids are easy, just spray them with some soap water, but also this year we got a ladybug kit. So we grew ladybugs and we put them out into the garden. So they're going to hopefully take care of whatever soapy aphids are still around. But I think I got most of them.
Yeah.
But.
So I'm learning by doing and always messing up. And so last year it was the snails and it was the cold. Like it was still cold at night. It was making my basil plant do badly. And then inside it was scale bugs on the basil plant. I got some bisexual lighting and repotted the basil plant in like a much bigger pot. And it's done great, but it's still like the scale bug thing is just it's just unending. I have to basically spray it with neem oil once a week when I water it. It's just incredible how annoying these things are. Like they just love destroying plants and just looking like weird boogers on the side of your plant. But then also I'm growing. I bought a set of onions. Like I guess I'm not smart on this, but from what I can tell, onions grow like in a 2-year cycle, and so you can buy like sets of onions that have already gone from seed to like little bulbs. And then plant them. And so I planted a bunch of those. They're like the greens look like fucking corn stalks right now. They're doing great. I just took some leftover garlic from the grocery store that I was going to go bad and just planted it. And like it's growing really well too. And I also kept the tip ends of green onions and put them in water under the bisexual lighting. And they then, regrew and then planted them. So I've got some green onions growing too. The British call them salad onions or spring onions. Like if you ask for scallions or green onions, they'll look at you like you're crazy.
I planted garlic last year, and I'll have to send you a picture because my garlic is insane right now. I basically just
Yeah, I think I saw some of your pictures online. Mine are getting that way. Like they weren't for a while because like it was for one really dry, but also like it's just been like I think it's colder than normal this spring so far.
well, it's you gotta put them in. See, I put them in October. So you got to overwinter to really get some garlic to it. Like you can do spring garlic, but like to really get the good garlic growing. For those of you out there, two things I've learned: one, plant
for true garlic heads out there,
garlic in October, and two, plant your peppers at least a foot apart. Like at least have 12 to 18 inches between peppers. Otherwise, you're not going to get shit off of a pepper plant, other than a couple like weak little things. And you're like, what happened? It's like. People don't understand pepper plants are incredibly needy and greedy and will suck everything up out of your like it's worse than a tomato plant sometimes. Like a tomato plant, like you plant a tomato plant and then like next year you either have to move it or you have to refertilize the area or recompost it. But peppers are just even worse because they just suck everything up out of it. And like you really have to enjoy peppers because you're going to lose a lot of real estate in your garden with peppers.
Yeah. I'm trying to basically get to the point where hopefully I'm able to salvage. I've been trying to grow Peruvian ají chilies because I want to use them to make Peruvian fried rice with. And ajís are like one of the only pepper plants like I can't really buy in like grocery store delivery here. Like I'd have to grow them myself. I'm going to try to grow tomatoes too, but if that fails, like it's not really that big of a deal because I can get tomatoes, there's no problem. But like the peppers that I want, I can't really get. And for a while, like in the first lockdown, there was kind of a basil shortage. So growing your own has been super helpful. But what I'm hoping to do is, I think the one ají chili is doing super well, like the new seedling. So if I'm lucky and it holds out, then get that planted before. Because honestly, like we've talked about this on the show before, I won't repeat myself, but in America, in New York, for example, the place for which I am deeply homesick right now, it's hot in September. It's hot in October normally, or at least the end of September. I mean, I can recall. Like around Labor Day, the end of August, beginning of September, it's in the 90s, like it can be up near 100 sometimes. It stays warm until like you don't start to feel anything approaching like the cool off until September, and then like it doesn't really start to hit autumn style until October in my experience. Whereas here, like it'll be cold on September 1st. Like it's like, oh, autumn starts September 1st, and you're like, notionally, like no, actually. So that's the thing with growing plants is that like you can kind of do stuff with cloches or outdoor, like tents, greenhouse tents, and that kind of a thing. But like you just start losing daylight and you start losing warmth so fast. And even in like the dead of summer and like the hottest part of August, it typically gets into the low 60s or high 50s at night. Like it doesn't stay hot at night the way that it does in America. And so like that's nice in the sense that like if you don't have air conditioning, it sucks when it's 95 Fahrenheit in your house. But then when, at night at least, like eventually it will cool off. But it sucks in the sense that like for plants, like you can be in a situation where like a plant could be hot enough that it might be getting sun damage if it's not completely covered. But then at night it'll like harden because it's too cold. So yeah, gardening here is just weird. And I think that the extremes of English weather explain English people's demeanor. Sorry, English fans, but you at this point, if you're still listening, you know how I feel.
Yeah, this is not a place where we wave either the American flag or the Union Jack.
This is not a pro-British zone, but it's also not a pro-American zone. Let's be perfectly honest.
It's not an anti-British zone either. Like,
no, I mean, I'm mean about stuff, but also, I mean, I think that it comes from a position of like, it's not just arbitrarily, trying to hate on England or the United Kingdom. It's more when you experience this stuff for the first time. I'm sure that like, Cynthia and I have talked about it that we would, we've considered like, okay, eventually long term, we're probably going to move back because I mean, like we have family and everything like that. And on a long enough timeline, like career stuff has worked out for us here and like we could move back and, things would be better than they were when we were there before. We hope, who knows? I don't know. But the point being like, I'm sure that if I move back to America, that stuff's going to be foreign to me in a way, even though I'm from America, just because it's been so long.
What do you mean?
By the time that we'd be moving back, it would be like,
Can I have beers in an aluminum can, please? Get the fuck out of here.
It's not that shit. It's not that shit, man. Come on, fuck. What the fuck are you talking about? No, it's more like reflexively saying stuff like cheers or mate or stuff like that because you've gotten so used to like using British lingo to kind of like accommodate and not be confusing. It's like if people who like you spend enough time living in New York, you get used to saying standing on line instead of standing in line. But you say that back in the Midwest, and people are like, "What? You fucking standing on an AOL CD or something?" You know what I mean? Like, What are you talking about? But that's how they say it.
How long do you think it'll be? Like you move back to New York day one until how many days is it until you yell, "Hey, I'm walking here"?
Hey, I'm fucking walking here. I don't know, man. I mean,
those New York colloquialisms that we know.
Fuck up out of here. That the thing that gotta be honest with you, and I mean we're doing a slightly longer dad chat, but like we can end after this and talk about serious stuff.
No, we won't. The thing you want to talk about isn't serious either.
The thing we're going to talk about is stupid as hell, but it's really funny. But all right, so listen. The thing about it is that there is this phenomenon that I have observed in the United Kingdom. Now, let me ask you, Francis, when you think of, like, aside from internet memes and stuff on Twitter, just think with me for a second here. You've been exposed to some British entertainment from stuff like I used to watch a lot of British
comedies in the 90s.
Yeah,
so
me
like
too.
Red Dwarf,
In the 90s,
Keeping Up Appearances, Father Ted. There's a lot of I have been exposed to a lot of British TV.
My mom's English. I grew up watching BBC dramas, Blackadder Goes Forth, all the other Blackadders, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like the TV movie versions, the Rowan Atkinson show, The Thin Blue Line. And then in like college, I watched that Mitchell and Webb right after college. I think it came out. Stuff like that. So I mean, I was a huge fan of the movie Trainspotting when I was in high school. Like I was exposed to it maybe to the point of being a Teaboo, but like I had this perception of England. And you probably
wait a minute. So we're gonna trash the word Anglophile and we're gonna go with Teaboo.
Oh no, Teaboo. Call them fucking Teaboos, man. If at this point with God's internet you can actually observe what it's like in this country, if you are still an Anglophile, like you were just a weeb for England.
A Teaboo.
Like so that you gotta be honest. You are a weeb. Like I was a weeb for England, then I moved here. I was English weeb Icarus. I flew too close to the sun, and now I realized I had an epiphany where I was like, wait a minute. Oh, this is why everyone wants to leave. The reason the point of this question was, Francis, like, what's your general vibe of what you think like England is like and English culture is like? And I'm not saying Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland because like. So much of 55 million people live in England, and like it generates the overwhelming lion's share of like culture industry stuff that gets exported.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I know that TV lies to me from just watching American TV and then growing up and being like, hey, wait a minute, things aren't like, all the TV shows where the men hate their wives because they're shrill shrews. Like that's not actually a thing. So I don't know. Like I watch mostly comedies and stuff, so it feels like the British are just they're funny but a bit more dry is what I would get from
dry, acerbic, phlegmatic, reserved, sort of like I heard it explained once that the general ethos of British comedy is more or less like courage under fire or sort of like calm under fire,
keeping calm and carrying on.
Yeah, whereas the calm, the ethos of American comedy is more like there's a fool born every minute. Like we like our blundering morons. The British like the sort of canny guy in a stupid situation. However, here's the thing. I have discovered as an American in this country that all of the stuff about sort of the calm reserve, repressed, if you want to call it, suppressed, however, sort of like perhaps even self-conscious, that is kind of a class affectation, and most of it's not like that. And also, there's way more of like some stuff I like here in the sense of the sort of fuck cops, I'm just going to do whatever I want crime shit, the state can't touch me here, which is weird in a country that's so obsessed with surveilling everything. There absolutely is a culture of just like, no, fuck off. I'm going to sell drugs out of my car, like growing weed in my attic, like I'm going to have just doing dodgy shit, to use an English expression.
Yeah,
but the class affectation stuff, what I was not prepared for was that there is a kind of a very sort of call it imperious attitude on the part of people who are upper middle class white people in this country, that they just kind of go around, and maybe this is white people in America too, maybe I'm going to sound like an idiot, but I've seen that in America. I'm from the fucking Midwest. It's just like it's like England demographics. But I lived in New York for 4 years. Never once did I ever ever once get on a car on a weeknight on a subway, in the subway, and have people randomly break into songs singing fucking Sweet Caroline. Now, this has happened to me like 4 times in London. It's like at 10:59 p.m. on a bus in South London or on the tube, it's like calm. And at 11:01 p.m., it's like, Sweet Caroline, nah, nah, nah. And you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Because, I don't know if you've been to New York, but like as a New Yorker or ex-New Yorker, if you want to solve that, people just be like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, especially if you don't look like you're prepared to fight, people will they will let you know. And that's the thing it's like a country of people. Like, there's a certain class of people that you encounter a lot in England. The best way I could describe it is like they've grown up with no natural predators. And it's just
well, no, they have natural predators. It's just that your average English person isn't worried about getting shot. Like, in New York, like I saw a video of somebody like, oh look, people are openly doing heroin on the subways in New York. It's like, well, one, that person's not bothering anybody, so who gives a shit? But two, like, what are you gonna do? Because that guy could pull out a fucking gun and shoot you. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to start singing and like, man, people are just trying to get home. Like, that's just an asshole move.
And I mean, like, and the thing is, people will like look. Sometimes you ask yourself, like, is it worth it or not? Like, I was on the train one time when a dude, like a homeless guy, like laid out on one of the benches sleeping and shit himself, and like it was a really crowded train, and everyone was like, oh my god. We had to like clear out of the car. I've been on trains when like some kids were playing dice. And like they looked to be about 17 or 18, and just like all of them looked like they'd fucking knew how to fight. We'll put it that way. And so under normal circumstances, the like aunties and grandmas would be like, "The fuck is wrong with you?" But everyone just moved when the train came to a stop because they were like, "This is not worth. It's not worth like fighting with these kids. Like, this is just stupid." So it's like people pick their battles.
I want to come to London. Like, while you're still there, my daughter really wants to come to London, but like I feel like as a St. Louisan, like I would have no like natural feeling of like this is a dangerous situation because like I'm surrounded by British people. How dangerous can this really fucking be?
But that's the thing though, is it's so much easier to get your ass kicked here than it is in America. That is one thing I will say. Like, for all the talk of like the twee bullshit, like especially in outside of London, it's just basically people kind of. It doesn't take much for stuff to break into fights, and it's just like the consequences are less here. Like, it's very unlikely you're going to get stabbed. It's almost impossible that you're going to get shot. And so, yeah, like fights, it just happens more easily.
If I get my head bounced off of the fucking pavement, I have free healthcare to go and get my TBI taken care of. So like,
although to be fair, they I have heard stories now of people who are tourists who get hurt as tourists getting charged in the NHS. Believe me, like they're doing everything they can to completely destroy this system. It'll still be called the NHS, but like it won't be state-run healthcare, and it won't be public. Like it's bad. This country is going to become Hungary with worse food. So that's just my take. But the point I'm trying to make is that when I think about being homesick and I think about like attitudes, dude, like there are just times when even now, almost 3 years in, I'm still reminded of how much I'm not from here. And there's things that I love about this place. There's things that we have a great life here, and we have great friends, and I just recall the stress, the pressure of living in New York. And so, I would only go back if it was like a big W, if you will. Like if job stuff had worked out so well that it was like, I'm not going to having to be renting from Afghan Guido landlord anymore. I'll be able to like get a nicer place that has space and stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it because anyone, and respect to our New York listeners, because we have so many of them, like I check the stats and I check the locations on the stats, and thank you for being supporters. I recognize that New York is the largest population center in America, but it doesn't necessarily skew towards being interested in veteran stuff. So thank you, New York listeners. We are huge fans and homesick as ever. But the thing I'm saying is just that like I now have so much more empathy for people who are forced to move to new countries and adapt to a new, especially, as adults. It's hard no matter how old you are, but the older you are, the more challenging it is. And, my mom's from here. They speak the same language, sort of. And and yet it's so disorienting sometimes. I almost said disorientating like a British person. And so, the long story short of it is just like, it's different. It's hard. It's hard to adapt to a new country as an adult. And it's been a real eye-opening experience so far. It's just recently with a lot of the stupidity in this country, I've just been like, I miss the place where people would be like, hey, I'm walking here, fuck out of here, that kind of stuff. Like I miss the attitude.
You miss your like the fucked up the fucked up politics of your own country, where it's like, look,
I do.
I like the guy, but Mark McCloskey, the guy who came out and pointed guns at a bunch of protesters walking through a gated community in St. Louis, announced that he's running for Senate. Like, if I didn't have that weird insanity happening in my life, I don't know what the fuck I would do. Like, am I going to go to England and just be like, we need to put trans people in prison and like
yeah. Like
where can
it's like we stand against all forms of racism. Anyway, here's this statue of a Nazi sympathizer, and we're going to make it illegal to be a traveler.
My wife was telling me, she's like, I don't know if we have like a weird Stockholm syndrome for St. Louis, because like we keep being like, oh, it's fine. Like, yeah, there's problems, but it's we want to stay and we want to be good, white people and try to make things better as like our city hemorrhages population and the crime statistics go up and everything. But it's just like, but I don't want to live somewhere where I'm just surrounded by a bunch of SUVs and like white people
my friend moved back with his wife, like to her hometown in a suburb of St. Louis, and like I've been to her like at their wedding reception, like to her parents' place. It's just like where I'm from, but more racist.
Yeah, it's and sometimes like there's these big you'll see this beautiful landscape, and then all of these like very similar McMansions like popping out of the trees and everything, and it's just like, man, like I'm not gonna shit on anybody for how they want to live and in the world and what world they feel comfortable in, but like that is a world I do not understand. Like, you drive around those areas, like there's no sidewalks. Everything looks like it's going to fall apart in about 25 years. Like, it all looks like it was just slapped up there. And even the roads, it's like all of this is going to fall apart. This was all like built yesterday, and none of it's going to last beyond its 30-year mortgage. And I don't know. That is a world I do not understand. And if you put me in that world, I would constantly just be like, I have to get out of here. I have to get back to a city. I need to see somebody openly carrying a gun every once in a while to like feel normal. Like when I go to Kennett, Missouri, like to get a vaccine, which is 3 miles south down in the Boot Heel, and I see like a dude going to Walmart with a Beretta attached to his, like just open carrying a Beretta. It's like at a Walmart in a city with a population of like 10,000 and 99% of it is white. It's just like, these are my people. They're all fucked up and weird, and I can't imagine not being here. I want to be able to walk around and like two guys moving, that like when you see a U-Haul just like show up at a house at 11 o'clock at night, it's just like, man, that's what's going on there. There's an exciting story that I don't want to be a part of, but I'm glad that it's happening. Like, you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, man.
What I'm talking about. You know that middle of the night U-Haul.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, there's things I don't miss and there's things I do miss. And I think the thing is, ultimately, I bet you that like if we spent time or we did move back, that there would be things about England that I missed a lot too. And I'd probably, as stupid as it sounds, because I remember being in New York and being stressed out and being miserable and wanting to leave and wanting to move here. And like, I wake up in the morning sometimes and I'm like, this fucking country. But then I rode my bike in today and the weather's beautiful. And I'm like, actually, I'm really lucky. I'm incredibly privileged and lucky to be doing what I'm doing and living where I'm living. So, it's a thing that goes back and forth, and I think it really is affected by, your mood and things that kind of oscillate. But I guess the thing about it is there are things about America, and particularly, after having become accustomed to living in Brooklyn, that just used to make me laugh so much, like just the attitude, the general energy of the place. Like, I did appreciate that. And obviously it's changing and getting like, and gentrified in a way that doesn't respect any community whatsoever, that just respects, squeezing as much dollars out of real estate as possible. And that's really grim to see. But it was also, I mean, when I first moved there, obviously that process was happening, but it wasn't quite as far out into Crown Heights as where it was when we left. And yeah, I mean, just, like it's a place where, you are a guest. You're not from there. You weren't born and raised there. You were a guest, and so you have to act like a guest. And like, people will be respectful if you're respectful. But also like, if you fuck around, you'll get your ass beat. And I respected that a lot, actually. and I appreciated living there. And I got to know folks all over the community, and like I miss that. And
there is a special, like, if you ever listen to Joe talk about moving to Hawaii, in a lot of ways that also is, it's like moving to a different country. They still take the same money and they still speak the same language, but it's a 9-hour flight from California to get to Hawaii. So it's very,
it's not quite that far, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's 6 hours from LA, but yeah, it was 12 hours direct from New York, which is like about as much time as it would take to fly to fucking Argentina. So it's to put it in perspective.
Yeah, it's the moving, picking up stakes and moving to, like, if you took my ass and dropped me in, like, I know a lot of Midwesterners end up in New York or LA when they're just like, this Midwest town just ain't big enough for me, and I got to go, to one of the coasts, which it's fine. I respect. I have no problem. I have nothing bad to say about it. But it is a very strange concept to me, and I think it works a lot better when you're like 20. And because you and I, we joined the army in our teens and stuff. That's the best time when you're more malleable. But now I'm like, Nate, I'm 38. Like, I don't want to move out of my office chair most days. Certainly don't want to move to a different fucking country.
Well, no, then that was one of the things that Cynthia and I talked about when we were like, if we move back, it wouldn't be until she got UK citizenship, because it's sort of like, well, make all this effort worth something. Like, she should get a fucking passport. But so that's years from now. Like, and stuff can change, obviously. But our thought was basically either move to a place where we could buy like a fuck off big house in like the South, or move back to New York because it's familiar. We've got friends, we got family nearby, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, oh, hell yeah. I fucking moved to New York when I was 29, moved to London when I was 33, move to LA for the first time when I'm 40 or something, and just be like, sweet, like constantly just doing through this process over and over again of getting accustomed to a place and establishing yourself. Like, I kind of want to go home sometimes. And recently I've been feeling that way a lot. But then again, Britain's got its own psychosis, and I'm obviously like uniquely hard on Britain, but there's plenty of psychosis going on in America. In fact, I would wager the average person is probably being driven more at risk of being driven insane in America than in Britain, which is a feat, because everything about the British establishment, the British media, British upper class solidarity seems engineered to make everyone go crazy. However, I am obliged to say this because of the fact that so many military and veterans were overrepresented in the January 6th uprising in Washington, D.C., that the insanity, the general thing that we've talked about, the thing that basically made us start this show, the like just brain melt disconnect of what's been happening in America, has apparently metastasized so much that we are now seeing lawyers trying to make a defense in court that being a Trump guy is like a legal form of insanity. And that has led us to one of the more interesting stories that I've read in a while. This is from Talking Points Memo, also known as Toilet Paper Monthly. However, this story is very, very funny. So I want to talk about this. And yes, we're talking about American politics in general. But I think that with the recent story that an active duty Marine major was arrested for having taken part in this insurrection, and all of the anecdotal stories about military and veterans doing this, I think we would be remiss to not address the larger brain dysfunction that's going on here. Like, what is Trump syndrome, and the fact that it's basically being used as a legal defense to try to explain away crimes and wrongdoing. So, Francis, I'm going to read this. The title of this article is Capitol Rioters, Trump Defense Comes Up Again and Again. Will it make a difference? And I'll just read through this. A few weeks after his arrest for allegedly storming the Capitol on January 6th, the man known as the QAnon shaman, Jacob Chansley, floated an idea that dozens of others have tried, that Trump himself deserves some of the blame for his actions. Chansley's attorney wrote that his client had been consistent, quote, in his assertion that, but for the actions and the words of the president, he would not have appeared in Washington, D.C. to support the president, and, but for the specific words of the then president during his January 6, 2021 speech, the defendant would not have walked down Pennsylvania Avenue and would not have gone into the U.S. Capitol building, unquote. That argument did not work. In a memo explaining his order to keep Chansley detained pending trial, U.S. District Judge Royce C. Lamberth said it wasn't necessary to question Chansley's sincerity. Quote, even taking defendant's claim at face value, it does not persuade the court that defendant would not pose a danger to others if released, Lamberth wrote. Quote, if defendant truly believes that the only reason he participated in an assault on the U.S. Capitol was to comply with President Trump's orders, that this shows defendant's inability or refusal to exercise his independent judgment and conform his behavior to the law, unquote. Nonetheless, the so-called Trump defense continues to resurface as alleged participants in the Capitol riot wend their way through the legal system. And even though the tactic may not get the defendants entirely off the hook, lawyers with whom TPM spoke, including defense attorneys for the accused, say there's an upside to roping Trump into the case, including potentially a lighter sentence. Legally, these are unprecedented cases, Chansley's attorney Albert Watkins told TPM last week. Quote, and as a result, while the judge may not be compelled to emotionally embrace as a matter of opinion the effect or impact of the words and actions of the former president as being a cause, there is going to necessarily be a legal compulsion to address that reality as part of an evaluation of culpability, unquote. Blaming Trump for directing a defendant to take criminal actions on January 6th, the public authority defense, in which the defendant points out that an authority figure told them to commit a crime, is a legal long shot. It doesn't matter if they were answering all his calls in terms of their own guilt or innocence, said Harry Littman, a former U.S. attorney and deputy assistant attorney general, referring to Trump. Quote, the law doesn't recognize it as an excuse. Whatever brought them there, whatever they were spurred on to do, social media postings or whatever, they're equally guilty under the federal statutes, unquote. But with more than 400 people facing federal charges, a sum that grows weekly, some defense attorneys think their clients stand to benefit from invoking the former president. Why? It's a numbers game. Most federal cases end in plea deals, and with prosecutors spending an inordinate amount of time on certain defendants, such as members of the far-right Proud Boys and Oath Keepers accused of conspiring to violently interrupt Congress, some defendants are trying to distinguish themselves from those accused of planning or participating in significant violence. If successful, the argument goes, they could convince prosecutors to arrange a plea deal containing less serious charges and earn the sympathies of judges calculating their prison terms. Quote, most of these people, like most defendants in the criminal system, likely are to plead guilty, and so they're wise to try and think about what they're going to say in mitigation at sentencing, Harry Sandick, a former federal prosecutor in the Southern District of New York, told TPM. Quote, one strategy is to say, look, I was misled. I understood this. I'm sorry. I now know I shouldn't have done this. The president was wrong, but I was watching all these people on TV and I heard what the president said, Sandick said. Not that that would excuse what was done, but it might be a mitigating fact for some judges at sentencing. For capital defendants' attorneys, this is where it gets funny, finding mitigating factors will be key in softening potential prison sentences. Watkins, the Q shaman Jacob Chansley's attorney, said his client had Asperger's syndrome and indicated that Chansley's mental state and the impact of Trump's propaganda efforts, this is in scare quotes, would play a role in his case. Quote, all of these defendants, and I'm going to use this colloquial term, perhaps disrespectively, but they're all fucking short bus people, Watkins told TPM. These are people with brain damage. They're fucking they're on the goddamn spectrum. But they're our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, our co-workers. They're part of our country. These aren't bad people. They don't have a prior criminal history. Fuck, they were subjected to 4+ years of goddamn propaganda, the likes of which the world has not seen since fucking Hitler, unquote.
This is a very, like, first off, this is the John Hinckley Jr. defense at this point. Like, you know, I'm crazy and I believed a crazy thing because of another crazy person doesn't really get you anything. Again, you know, you can't watch, you know, Taxi Drive. Like, I read The Art of the Deal and decided to bust into the Capitol. That doesn't work. But apparently they're going to go for it because really what other option do you have other than to be like, everybody here is dumb as shit and it's not their fault that they're dumb as shit. And like, in a way, correct. But also, like, I understand mob mentality, right? You're in a mob, you get swept up with things, but you're still doing the insurrection.
I know. Just the idea that there's any sympathy for, like, I think these folks, like, you know, our positions on a lot of things, but these folks murdered a cop. Like the idea that the legal system would take these people seriously is like, oh, you guys beat a cop to death with a fire extinguisher. Like, you guys tried to kidnap and lynch members of the government. Like, one of your freaks broke into a secure room and got shot and killed by the Secret Service. Like, please stop pretending that this was just like, you know, I shouldn't be fired from my job because I used swears at a public official. It's like you were trying to murder these people. Like, Anyway, I'll finish the article, a few more paragraphs, and then we're done, because I have a big hot take on this. One particularly remorseful defendant, Anthony Antonio, was sick with a novel disease, quote, foxitis, unquote, when he entered the Capitol through a broken window on January 6. His attorney, Joe Hurley, argued during an initial appearance earlier this month. For months, stuck home due to the pandemic, he watched endless hours of the cable television station and eventually came to accept Trump's bogus claims of a stolen election, Hurley told TPM. Antonio is currently out of detention. In an interview, Hurley said the foxitis claim wasn't a defense in itself, but rather crucial context, an explanation of why his client marched to the Capitol in the first place. Quote, I want to separate him out from the herd of thugs that belonged behind bars, to set an example for the rest of the thugs that are out there, Hurley said. The foxitis remark, he said later, quote, is not a defense. It's pointing the finger of accusation where it belongs, to the slithery snake. What the fuck does that even mean? Who are these people? What kind of lawyer says this shit? This sounds like something Kafka from fucking Final Fantasy VI would say. What are you talking about? Also, here's my take. You know what this is? This is white people on heroin defense. And like, respect to all of our listeners who are
love heroin,
struggling with addiction, or who just love heroin. But I remember as a kid and as a young teen, the dynamic in America around people who used crack. And, you know, passage of laws, which have since, even the hard right American politicians have come to at least agree are insane, but not because they want penalties to be less draconian, but rather they want equally draconian penalties. But they passed penalties to basically ensure you went to prison for like 10 times longer if you got caught with crack versus if you got caught with cocaine. Because powder cocaine is a upper class white people drug, and crack cocaine was seen as a poor people's drug. I remember stories about crack babies and the idea that crack babies were going to be, zombies for life. They were going to be permanently criminal. None of this is true. Children who were born to mothers addicted to crack do, I believe, go through withdrawal and have medical issues, particularly like in immediately neonatal stages. But I think long term, from what I know, and I could be wrong, they are not, predestined to be criminals or be non-functional or to be subnormal or anything along those lines. However, this highly, highly, highly racialized approach to crack and to drugs in general and drug violence, throwing the book at them and sending people away for 30 years for having a fucking joint and 3 strikes and you're out and all this stuff was all predicated on othering people that, white Americans thought were predisposed towards crime. It was meant to other black people. It was meant to other Hispanic people, other immigrants, other Native Americans. And I mean, it worked. It worked. White America bought into it. They passed laws. The laws were popular, and they sent people to prison to a massive rate, to the point where we have more prisoners than any other country on the planet. And then the opiate crisis started, and white people started dying from heroin, and white people started running afoul of the law because of heroin addiction when they couldn't get pill mill pills anymore. And, in Cincinnati, Ohio, if you get caught with heroin, or in New York City, if you get caught with heroin, you will most likely be put into a diversion program and into court-mandated drug treatment. And that you will probably, at most, if you are imprisoned on, and certainly not on your first charge, you will probably go to prison for 6 months, or, in New York City, like Rikers for 6 months, or, whatever the county where Cincinnati's at, their jail for 6 months. Whereas where my parents live in Bedford, you will go to prison for 20 years, or at least some people have. And there's certainly counties in southern Indiana where you will go to prison for 20 years for heroin possession. And people start saying this is unfair. Addicts are victims. They are victims. Crack addicts are victims. It's a medical issue that needs to be treated. Alcoholics are too. Heroin addicts are too. But the argument for empathy began to take off when the people who were comfortably able to demonize and otherize people as irredeemable, pathological, suddenly started seeing members of their own community, going down for heavy, heavy time for heroin. And I don't want to frame this punitively, because you have the Jeff Sessions approach, which is like, that is unfair that people are going to prison for longer sentences for crack versus cocaine. Everyone should go to prison for life for any drug. That is 100% how Jeff Sessions thinks, because he's a fucking...
Yeah, the lib answer is just like, obviously everybody should be going to prison.
But Sessions is a fucking Klansman. But like, he worked with people, I think he worked with Biden on sentence regulation, or like normalization, because he was like, no, everyone should go to prison for way longer for drugs. Like, the point being, That is the absolute wrong answer. Like, if you look at that and you say, it's unfair, we should be more punitive to everyone, that is wrong. It's always been wrong. It's incredibly stupid. And the point here is that if you can push, if you get people on side to say, all right, we're going to treat addiction as a medical problem, that's good. Decriminalize drugs, that's good. Do that. But you can't blame people for being a little bit salty or at least a little bit cynical when they see how that rhetoric changes of crack babies and crack mothers and crack houses and all of the stuff, put them away for life, they're animals, to, small bean heroin addiction. And like, man, I've never, I people in my life who struggle with addiction, and I know how hard it is. I am not demeaning that. I absolutely am not trying to downplay that at all. But that dynamic is there. And that is what this reminds me of, is creating these sorts of no-fault defenses to absolve people of a behavior that, I mean, in fairness, can be explained by these forces at work, but basically absolve a certain group and with a kind of grace that you would never in a million fucking years extend to your political enemies, or to, in the case of most of these people, other races and minorities and things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know how to be like, when you're a leftist and you're trying to be a proper left-leaning person where you have compassion for everybody and you do the very best you can to make sure that there's equality and equity, and you want to make sure that everybody can have the things that they need, and then you go up against conservatives who are just like, fuck you, I'm going to get mine. And it's like the only way to fight against that is with other force. And it's like, I don't want to take anything away from you guys, but obviously somebody needs to be slapped the fuck down. And it's not going to be me. So I don't know. It really feels like it comes to you want to do the best you can, but the other side really doesn't make it easy for you. And unfortunately, it's not just conservatives; it's liberals too. Like you said, everybody should go to the fair equity thing is that everybody goes to prison. Like a Biden supporter who says my cousin who works at McDonald's would be really angry if somebody who just started making $18 an hour. Like, why do you not see that there's a different option where your cousin starts making more money too? Like that's definitely a thing that can happen. And the brain, the American brain doesn't wrap around that. It's always it's never about
so stupid. That's it's like it would be like if people our age or older were like, well, my trans friends were persecuted and forced into the closet and fired from their jobs when I was young, so like it would be unfair to them if younger trans people didn't also get abused permanently. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane. So why, like, when you can see that something's wrong, when you can see that a system is victimizing people, whether it's wage theft or downward pressure on wages, or the absolute just theft of their surplus value, or drug sentencing or housing equity, anything along these lines, you got to solve the problem first. You can't be like, well, it would be unfair to the people who have already perished from these horribly unequal and unfair conditions if we fixed them. It genuinely becomes the Matt Boris comic about the guy in the well, like, oh, you participate in society. Well, also it's it's the same mentality of people when you say, well, you really shouldn't, hit kids. And then somebody says, well, my dad beat me and I turned out fine. I was like, no, you think hitting kids is okay. So obviously you didn't. Did you turn out okay? I mean, you apparently think that beating kids is okay.
Right. Like, you shouldn't hit a 5-year-old, man. That's fucked up. Like, I know. And it's just the better a better world is not possible kind of idea. And it's like, no, you can do these things. It's hard. I'm not going to tell you that it's not hard to, not whack your kid when they're really acting up sometimes, but you can do it. It's not necessary. These things, we don't have to live this way. And
yeah, and I don't know. I'm extremely hardline on that stuff because of well, I won't get into the reasons, but just kids are defenseless.
Sure. And kids have logic too.
You are bigger and stronger than them, and not only that, but like if you as an adult decided to resolve the misbehavior or like your frustrations of people your own age by hitting them, you would go to jail. So like, what makes them any different just because they're smaller and weaker? Like, I just you want to get me talking a lot, like, get on that topic because it drives me, and all the ex post facto rationalizations people come up with make me fucking sick. But we don't have to belabor that point.
Look, I'm raising a kid, and if anybody ever wants to do Dadchat, like a real Dadcast or whatever, I'm sure that I can, because like we're going through stuff, but it's like growth spurts and stuff. Like shit, I get hangry. Like why wouldn't my kid? So, but Nate, I think we're kind of winding down here, and I'm. This idea of there being some kind of Trump derangement syndrome, some kind of Trump psychosis, I absolutely agree that is a thing. But also, that does not absolve you. It does not absolve you of the shit that you did. And look, we're all people who don't really think that prison time does anything for anybody. Like you're not going to go to penitentiary and do any real penance. It's a punishment, and you get out, and society continues to shit on you. And it's really difficult to get a leg up. Like, if you make a mistake.
Yeah, it's more meant as a spectacle to other people.
Exactly. And, the whole idea of like, oh, well, you pay your debt to society. Well, it doesn't matter, because society will always be taking something out of your ass if you've ever like gotten a felony charge of any kind. So like, certainly this is not a like, yeah, that's right, throw him in jail and lock him up and throw away the key. However, it is very funny that one, this lawyer is being incredibly offensive. Like, first off, Asperger's is not a term that is used in the autism community. It hasn't been used in decades. So that's number one. Secondly, obviously calling them, short bus and the R word and everything. So these it's I would love to say that there's some way to like fix this, and maybe there is. Like maybe the Q shaman is going to be that guy who just, instead of launching a career where he writes a bunch of books like, My Day at the Capitol and, a picture of him like in his Q shaman thing, big, sold in airports all over the world and making, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe this one will be the like quiet, retrospective one, and says that was kind of fucked up, and maybe I am kind of brainwashed, because Nate, I can't shit talk somebody who is brainwashed. I was in the army for 20 fucking years. Like I can't,
yeah, exactly.
I can't, like Joe the other day after we got done recording one time was just like, it's really fucked up to hear people say, fuck the troops, or when they're really glad when they see like an Israeli soldier get killed or something, because one, those guys are conscripted, but two, also like, man, they are fed a lot of bullshit, and when you're 18, bro, it is real easy to buy into the bullshit. It's real easy, because that's all that you've been taught, and it is hard to break out of a lot of that programming. So like, in a way, yeah. I sympathize, but also,
I mean, I have so much sympathy for Israeli leftists and people who are draft resistors in Israel. It is such a hard life, and like so many of them wind up having to leave the country because, I mean, not only do they make it, economically very challenging for people, but also like your threats to your safety. I mean, similarly with people who are academics or other like commentators who speak out against the occupation. I mean, it's unbelievable how far right the popular discourse is there, and how hard it is, and like, yeah. So I agree with you, and like I said, I feel like you have to look for a potential for growth. You cannot you have to look for some kind of humanity, I think, but also in the case of these guys, I'm really disinclined to accept a sympathy defense that Trump made me do it. I just really am, because I think of some of the absolutely insane things that we've heard about recently. A guy getting a life sentence without possibility of parole for like a gram of weed in Mississippi. It was a long time ago, but the courts upheld that decision. Hearing things like that, or the woman who got a 5-year prison sentence because she didn't realize that she was ineligible to vote in federal elections, right? And she voted. Whereas like guys who deliberately voted twice for Trump got like community service. You can guess the race of the people involved in both cases. So when I hear that stuff, I'm disinclined to accept like legal sentencing mitigations with these guys. But what I am saying is I agree with you that Trump syndrome exists, and like we've got to fucking fix that. And I don't know how you're going to fix it without, I mean, like, and I guess the only point I would make is that if people are willing to go into a court of law and say, Trump made me do it, Trump syndrome, Trump brain, etc., well, then you better get serious about combating that shit. And that means fucking shutting this down, shutting down Fox News, shutting down Sinclair. Like, destroying them.
Let me see
Otherwise,
the Q shaman.
I mean, if it genuinely is pathological to the point that it's making people so crazy they commit fucking murders, then we've got a problem.
Yeah, let me see the Q shaman get up on like MSNBC and be like, I fucked up, and here's how I fucked up. And you know what? He wouldn't be the first person who is part of an extremist movement who comes out on the other side and is just like, that was really fucked up and we need to talk about it. Because we do. It needs to be talked about. And
also, it's like you and I are in a really poor position to try to argue for a policy of, one strike and you're out. You can never grow. You can never learn from your mistakes, and you can never move on from things that you did wrong. Because I mean, well, that's a mirror. You know what I mean? Like, so I agreed. I actually stray to the side of leniency, but I think in this particular situation, it's just there's a lot more things at play besides just what these guys wind up getting in court sentencing.
Yeah.
And I think that if we are at the point where courts are going to have to consider whether or not Fox News and President Trump makes people go crazy to the point of doing crimes, then that is perhaps the first brick in dismantling a very large edifice of insane bullshit that's basically to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars a year, making people go completely fucking crazy and just ruining their lives and ruining their families.
Yeah. The punishment, if we're going to lay down a punishment for the Q shaman, it would be, he's got to go on a national, cable news prime time and do an interview and talk about how he was duped and how it wasn't real and the Stop the Steal wasn't real. Like, because if this is the defense, then he's got to really believe these things. Otherwise, he's just bullshitting me. If he's just bullshitting us and trying to get out of trouble and he still believes all the Trump shit, fuck him, I don't care. Yeet him into the ocean for all I give a shit. But like, if he really does have these ideas, you need to be forefront of combating it, because obviously, like, you are the face of this thing that happened. And if you're against it, you need to be against it vocally, visually, and all these other kinds of ways. And if this person, if the Q shaman, in my, I'm the judge and I'm, handing down sentences based on however the fuck I feel, that's, community services, you go around to schools and you talk about how you fucked up and how you got duped by Donald Trump. Because that's really, you need to be somebody who's like, I was there on that side and now I'm on the other side. Because otherwise, like, what's the point? What are you going to throw him in jail? Like, that's not going to do shit. Like, it's not there is no punishment that I think that any like real left-leaning person is going to be super happy with. Like, because I'm not going to celebrate if this guy goes to jail for 2 years. What the fuck is that going to do for anybody? But I would celebrate it if he comes out and he says, I fucked up. Here's how I fucked up. Here's how you can prevent yourself from getting fucked up, and fuck Donald Trump. Because one, that's going to, show that yes, he does actually, believe these things. But two, that's going to put enough of a fucking target on his back, man. He doesn't need the rest of it. So,
yeah. Well,
anyway,
on a long enough timeline, it's just a situation that we're going to have to face. And it's a lot of people who have been fed some bullshit and it's broken their brains. And you might argue, the libs might argue that the same is true for us. The crazy deranged socialists who just won't put aside childish student politics as fucking pear-shaped fucking home counties centrist dads love to say to me. However, that is not the case. I don't think that we've been radicalized towards being pathologically insane, violent. So be it. We're just trying to be honest about the things that are happening in the world we live in. So
I just want people to live, man. I don't want to see homeless people, and like not in a get them out of my house, get them out of my neighborhood kind of thing.
No, there should not be any homelessness. Yeah, we can end it. We can end it tomorrow. There should not be child hunger or child poverty. We can end it tomorrow.
Right.
There should not be. We could afford to give everybody universal basic incomes to eliminate material scarcity in terms of like the basic essentials. We could decommodify housing and healthcare and education overnight if we wanted to. We have the money. We could do it if we wanted to. We can invent money. We're the wealthiest, most powerful empire that has ever existed in human history. We could do it overnight if we wanted to. The reason we don't is because we just want to. Yeah. Or the people in charge of us want to.
Look, bro, I got Dogecoin to buy, all right? So
yeah. And so at the end of the day, man, like, yeah, this is part of a bigger problem, and we have to address it one way or the other. But however, we do also have to address the market reality of we fund this show off of Patreon. And this week we have a Patreon bonus, which Francis is going to introduce.
So Carrie and I discussed an open letter from a bunch of octogenarian retired admirals who all probably got their balls blown off in Vietnam at some point in time and who are nothing but proud about that fact. So enjoy this. It's basically about how Marxism is bad and everybody is a dumbass and, the things that 80-year-old people complain about. We had a captain who was just riding out to his retirement. And he pulled me aside. He was a field artillery. He was former drill sergeant. He was the captain. He was a fucking extreme looking man too. And he pulled me aside. He's like, Horton, I have no idea what I'm doing with a unit like this. He's like, I have no idea how to do this. Like, you guys don't know how to stand in a fucking formation. I was like, first off, sir, there are 6 of us, so including you. So what do you want here? Like, how are we supposed to stand in a fucking formation? Secondly, I was like, look, sir, we're going to go to, I think we were going to Honduras. And this was 2007, I want to say. We were doing a 2-week stint down in Honduras. And I was like, so, look, sir, you're going to go down there, and here's what you're going to do. You keep everybody off of our backs. And it was me and this other sergeant, Sergeant Best. I've known her since fucking day one of the Army. And she and I always worked great as a public affairs team. And I was like, sir, here's what I need you to do. I need you to keep fucking generals off my ass. I need you to keep officers off my ass. I need you to do that. And here's our plan. Here's what we're going to do. And we're going to make you look great. And we did that. And then he never fucking asked us to stand in a formation again.
Right.
And that was beautiful. And that's all I needed. And I was like, that's just like, I don't want to like offend you, sir, but we don't need you. There's no reason.
Yeah, like you don't actually serve our purpose here. Like,
right, you don't know what to do.
Like, it's great. It's great that you're here, and like that's wonderful and all. But like, we don't actually need you here, and you don't serve a purpose.
Exactly.
Like, even
he was a nice guy too, and but yeah, he was just like, yeah, I have nothing to do. And I was like, exactly, man. I don't know why you're here either.
Well, even like at my first unit, like I mean, even with like, and I mean, I guess that's the thing too, is like, to keep in mind is that, when, and I mean, there's, probably like a theory point to reach here, but, even when you have someone who's, you have a rank structure that's like kind of like lower down the totem pole. So like my OINC was only an E7. I mean, you still get the same, structures of kind of like, authority that reproduce themselves just kind of like at a lower level. So like essentially like, pretty much, I will have to say, and I doubt that he'll ever fucking listen to this because he's kind of like a MAGA dude. But my XBO was like, really fucking solid and like really knew what the fuck he was doing. But both my first line supervisor, who was like, in E4 and then like made E5, the ops boss who was in E5, and then also the OINC who was in E7, they were fucking useless and like didn't know like what the fuck to do. And so like essentially me and my other buddy, who's like, another dude from Massachusetts, we both just like ran the whole deck department, our unit. And it was only like, like I think altogether like maybe 12 to 15 of us. But like, we just like ran the whole thing. So like he just like, supposedly there's supposed to be, like E4s and E5s in front of shit. And it was just like me as an E3 and my other buddy who was also an E3, just like running, like our rigging program and our like rescue and survival programs and like all this other shit, because like there was just no one else there to do it. And we're both like grown ass adults in our mid-20s who like could just figure shit out. And like that's actually one of the things that always like blows my mind, like hearing about other services, because like, as like a fucking, E3 with like a year in, I was like, fully qualified on all the boats that I had. I was able to like run the deck. I was able to do like an entire fucking buoy trip and like, command everyone around and like tell them how to do shit. Like I was qualified to drive the crane. I was qualified to tow the boats. I was qualified to like, drive the fucking forklift that we had to move buoys around, like all this other shit. And, so like when it's, when I hear about like other services and it's like, oh, we're afraid to have like, to let our like, airmen have like a microwave in their rooms. That like kind of fucking blows my mind, because like, and like even similar, like I lived on the economy, like we had fucking TRICARE remote, like it was essentially just like a fucking job I went to, like fucking 5 days a week. And so like this whole thing where, all the other services seem to be just like a bunch of like angry 18-year-olds that like just like don't know how to like, not get popped for various different felonies is very strange to me.
And that's the thing. Like, it really feels like the Coast Guard is not necessarily selective, but they have like
You have to know who they are.
Yeah, you got to know about the Coast Guard. Nobody fucking told me about the Coast Guard. There's no Coast Guard recruiting stations around me, although there's Coasties in St. Louis. So
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't fucking know about any of this stuff. So like you kind of get the like not necessarily the cream of the crop, but you don't necessarily get all the real duds who are just like, well, the judge said it's either this or I got to go to jail.
Or I got to do like 2 to 5. So I guess I'll go 2 to 5 here and like, try my fucking odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just strange, but I mean,
look, as you said about the microwaves, for all of these rules, it's always because there was somebody who doesn't know how to do a microwave. Like, do you remember during the Tide Pod thing, and then like then some like drill sergeants went around and taking Tide Pods out of people's barracks rooms. It's like nobody's actually doing this, guys. It's like this is the most boomer fucking thing. It's like we got to take Tide Pods away from our 18-year-olds, otherwise they're going to eat them for clout on Twitter. Which, to be fair, not the worst thing that they could be doing for clout on Twitter. So,
I mean, in fairness, like there's a lot of times that I log into Twitter and I think about eating a Tide Pod. So I mean, like who's among us, to be honest?
Like the Bosnian war criminal, but it's just a Tide Pod. Okay, I've got a Photoshop to do after this. Let me write down a note so I don't forget. Bosnian.
Fuck.
War, I mean, crime, Tide. Hold on. Pod. All right.
Make sure that's 1 O and pod. Just to like just
look. I've got a little weed and a little vodka in me. I would have forgotten about it by the end of this, but now tomorrow I'm going to look at that and be like, "What's wrong with me?" But I'm also going to go ahead and make it.
I mean, there's just also one more thing to say about the whole general officers thing, and that's only that like because we've watched like libs just like absolutely just like try to fuck the concept of like general officers being in charge of shit for the last 5 years, and this whole fucking letter should like really be a sign that like just because someone gets to like a high rank in the military doesn't mean they're fucking smart, and you should not just like give them deference because you're a lib and you want to do an OAS thing like in America instead of in France.
It's not hard. Like, it's hard to become a general, but it's not hard when you're like a well-connected white dude who's happy to fucking just do whatever to get ranked. Like,
you went to a service academy. You didn't piss anyone off for like, the first 12 years of your career and you made general officer. Like, congratulations. That's cool. But also like, that doesn't mean that you should like then be put in charge of like, I don't know, the Department of the Interior, like whatever fucking bullshit.
All right. So let's read this letter, this open letter from retired generals and admirals from Flag Officers for America, but it's the number 4, which is a real fucking millennial bullshit thing to do. But all right. Okay.
From like a bunch of guys who are like definitely all on Social Security.
Our nation is in deep peril. We are in a fight for our survival as a constitutional republic like no other time since our founding in 1776. Okay.
I mean, that's a way to frame it. I mean,
the conflict is between supporters of socialism and Marxism versus supporters of constitutional freedom and liberty.
God, if only.
I mean, if y'all would just read the fucking Constitution. During the 2020 election, an open letter from senior military leaders was signed by 317 retired generals and admirals, and it said the 2020 election would be the most important election since our country was founded. Quote, with the Democratic Party welcoming socialists and Marxists, our historic way of life is at stake, end quote. Unfortunately, that statement's truth was quickly revealed, beginning with the election process itself. Do you feel welcomed by the Democratic Party, Carrie?
Yeah, no, I feel, as an amateur syndicalist, I feel, I know Joe Biden is just like one step away from, instituting, one big union as a matter of national policy. Like, I can't wait for Big Bill Haywood Day, like, like sometime in May.
He's going to come out with shipping off to Boston blasting and post show off his IWW tattoo that he got on his arm.
Yeah,
It's
like
not-
I can't wait for like a gigantic Scabby the Rat to just get inflated on the White House lawn. Like, I mean, we can't even get the fucking PRO Act to like get through the Senate and like onto Joe Biden's desk, and like, meanwhile, we're supposed to be afraid of like the fucking Marxist social. Like, fuck off. Like,
He'd
this is
sign
just
it
like,
though because he's a huge Marxist. The
I mean,
PRO
like
Act.
that's the thing is like all these fucking assholes are just like so like you've literally never earned anything but a government paycheck, and when it was something other than a government paycheck, you went to go work for like like fucking Raytheon or like
People who
like
you are
Electric
paid,
Boat or something. Like
yeah, you're paid by an electric, or you're paid by a government paycheck, but it just goes through a middleman now.
yeah,
And
like
you get more. Everybody, thanks for listening. You can follow me at Army Strang, follow Nate at In These Deserts, and follow the podcast at Hell of a Way. Check out the store. Check out everything else that we're doing. We're all over the place. Hopefully, I'm going to be doing more YouTube uploads too. Now that I got a new door in my office, so it's not as irritating to my wife to listen to me loudly yelling into a microphone. Which, after 4 years, nearly 5 years at this point, you'd think she'd be used to, but it is what it is.